there are some big rule changes that just happened. Maybe not that big, but there are some new wrestling rule changes that happened for the NCAA for next season. There are 6 major rules that happen, among a couple other smaller tweaks. I kind of read through this rule book to see what was changed and what the reasoning was behind this, and I'm here to educate you on what these rules are. So, first rule is you may have heard a little bit about this, is the shorts and shirt uniform. Now, this is a rule allowing a third uniform. So this isn't saying there are only shorts and shirts allowed in wrestling. That was actually proposed, and we'll get to some crazy proposed wrestling rules in a little bit. But what happened is this is a third uniform change. You may know that Edinburgh actually had shorts and shirt uniforms before, but they were tighter fitting, like compression short types, whereas now like cage fighting shorts are allowed on the mat, which was allowed in high school actually. My brother's high school team actually wrestled, and they had fighting shorts as part of their uniform. I didn't really dig them that much, and I'm interested in seeing who will be the first team to go to this new uniform change. Now, why is this a rule change? Why are they allowing this? Well, what it actually says in the rule book update, it says that the shorts are designed for wrestling to allow for more freedom of expression and allow wrestlers to be more comfortable. Really what this comes down to is the committee is seeing that maybe there aren't as many new people coming out for wrestling. They want to get, the football player who's like, I don't want to wrestle in a singlet. Singlets are dumb. They'll make you look blah, blah, blah. Okay? That's who they're going after. They're trying to get these new people to come out for the sport, but also get people to maybe watch the sport on TV. I don't know how big of an effect that will have. I really don't care. I'm fine with the singlet. Maybe it's just because I've been into wrestling for so long and I was a wrestler myself, but that's just my perspective. The next big rule change, major rule change, is the hair. There are now no more restrictions on the length of the hair. Again, this kind of goes back to the or they want freedom of expression, okay? And really what this looks at is, if you know what happened in New Jersey this past year, there was a wrestler where the ref made him shave off his dreads to get onto the mat to wrestle, instead because he didn't have a hair cap, or they was coming out of his hair cap, he wasn't allowed to wrestle with that long hair. And really, I think that was blown out of proportion. I think that, maybe it could have been handled a little bit better, but I've had guys on my team before that have had to cut their hair with little baby scissors, because that's all we had actually, to literally 5 minutes before the match, because the ref was like, you cannot have this long hair. And the rule right now, or what it was, is that it couldn't go past your earlobes and it couldn't go past your collar. But now it can go as far as you want. Now my question is are you able to now pull on the hair? Is that going to be illegal, or should this be treated kind of like in football, where the hair is now part of the uniform if it extends out past that collar, past the headgear? So that's kind of, I wonder about that a little bit, and it didn't really go into detail as far as what I read. The third rule change that is out there is the starting weight for dual meets. So right now, the new change is that coaches, if they mutually agree on a weight to start the duel, they want to start at 125, they want to start at 157, wherever they want to start, they can. However, if there's disagreement, if Tom Brands and Cael Sanderson can't agree on a weight, what will happen now is that instead of a random selection, it's actually a coin toss. So I like this. I think it's good, and the coin toss then goes to whichever coach, and they get to decide the weight. So I think that's fine. That's pretty cool to me. The next rule is hands to the face. Hands to the face. The biggest, craziest rule of this past year. So horrible, okay? And now the NCAA thinks that this rule is solved because they changed the rule from an unnecessary roughness call, which automatically got a point deducted or a point added for the other wrestler. It changed from unnecessary roughness to an illegal hold. So the illegal holds should actually, where the states in the rulebook is that they should be prevented rather than called. But the question here, okay, the question here is, how can you prevent hands to the face? It's not like, somebody's running a really tight bar and their arm's coming up a little bit, like, stop, let's wait, I'm going to prevent this. Like, how do you prevent a quick hand to the face? You can't prevent that. So, I mean, you can't prevent that. You're not going to call the guy halfway through his arm motion and say, whoa, be careful there, that hand to the face. It's not going to happen. Okay, so I really don't know how this rule changed. Maybe the refs will just not call it as much this year because of that, and maybe they'll give out a couple warnings before they're actually, giving out a point. I don't know, but this doesn't seem solved to me. Do you think this is solved? I don't think so. On to the next rule change, stalling penalties. This, simple rule change. This goes from a warning to a 1 point, 1 point, 2 points, then a DQ. It didn't used to be a 2 point, it used to be a 1 point. And this is just like if somebody's stalling out of a match, they keep stalling. The 2 points is basically to alert the wrestler and the coach that, listen, if you get another stalling call, you're done. So I think that's pretty smart. The next rule change is a figure 4. This, I think, kind of flew under the radar and not a lot of people found out about it, but it got reclassified from a technical violation to an illegal hold. So now instead of the 1 point, it's, again, just like hands to the face, should be prevented rather than called. And now my question is, what happened to these other rule changes, okay? And you may be wondering this too. So there were a couple major parties that really wanted a couple of new rules. And one of these was the optional headgear. Now, 71% of coaches actually wanted this. And this comes from, this is sent out, it's a survey, all coaches get to participate in it and say, like, yes, I want this rule change, I don't want this rule change. 71% of coaches said they wanted the optional headgear, but ultimately the committee decided, no, this should not be a rule change. Why? I don't know. Are they trying to protect people from concussions or cauliflower ear? I mean, I really don't think a headgear prevents concussions. And as far as cauliflower ear, 90% of the wrestlers have cauliflower ear that are wrestling because they're either not wrestling with a headgear in the room or, it's just what happens in wrestling, okay? The next rule change that I'm wondering about is the third-party review. What happened there? So originally, what happens right now and what's going to continue happening is that a ref makes a call on the mat. He goes off the mat. He or she reviews that call. So they're reviewing their own call instead of having a third party review that. Now, listen, I don't think that this actually needed to happen at every single tournament, but the big ones, yeah. At the national tournament, yeah, I think this needs to be happening. At the conference tournaments, yeah. At the Big Ten, there should be a third-party review, 100%. This was just completely overlooked, and it actually wasn't even discussed. Which blows my mind. Now, there's also no penalty for a video review, which also raises some questions as to, what's going on as far as the video reviews. And the other rule change that I really wonder about is the, now that with the weigh-ins, it was really discussed as whether there should be 2-hour weigh-ins as opposed to, like, you can have a weigh-in 2 hours before the match as opposed to just 1 hour. But that was ultimately decided against by the committee.